Hey everyone, this is Emily Lane Seth, and if you have been here before, thank you so much for coming back to my channel, and if not, welcome. I hope you enjoy your stay here. Today I'm going to be filming a writing advice video, and I just want to really quickly apologize for not having a change of scenario. I know that I talked about possibly relocating last week, but unfortunately this week I have been incredibly sick. I am actually still sick today and was considering postponing my vlog, but since I'm just starting out, I decided it was more important to film for you guys, so just know that I do have some apologies about that, and I am really sorry, and hopefully next week I will have us in a better location. I also just want to really quickly, for any of you that might have watched my other video, yes, my hair has changed. It is now a dark purple color, and hold on, I shaved the back of it and I just have it up for this video. Sorry for shaking my desk. I have it up for this video just to kind of show off my new hair. So I hope you guys like it. Let me know what you think in the comments. I really love it, so I hope that you do too. So as I stated before, I have been sick this week, so I haven't had as much time to script write for my vlog. So today I kind of want to just talk about the type of writer that you are and how to discover this about yourself. Now, I am not speaking about genre or preferred output, so we're not talking about fantasy versus novelist versus sci-fi today. Instead, we are going to be talking about the plotter, the pantser, and the planter categories of writers, and I'm going to talk a little bit about each of those, maybe some pros and cons, and hopefully that will help you discover what writer you are so that you can better adapt your writing to your specific style. Okay, so first up, I'm going to talk about the pantser writer. Now, this is the type of writer that almost everyone is when they first start out. These writers don't really plan ahead of time. They kind of just, I'm so sorry if you heard my fridge start. Anyways, these kind of writers don't plan ahead of time, and they kind of just start working on their projects without doing a lot of background work. Now, this is a very beneficial type of writing because you can just dive headfirst into your project and you don't have to worry about a ton of world building. Honestly, I find that a lot of pantsers do very well writing contemporary novels because there's not as much groundwork to lay for those novels, but I feel that pantsers struggle more in in-depth projects like sci-fi or fantasy where you're creating your own world and your own system. Anyways, but pantser writers tend to dive headfirst into their writing projects without prepping beforehand. That is the big specification with them, is that they do little to no prep before starting their writing project. The second category of writer that I want to talk about today are plotters, and they are the exact opposite of pantsers. These are the writers that take a lot of time to plot before they even write down any part of their story. I find that these writers are most successful with world building type projects. These writers are very good fantasy, sci-fi, anything that has a lot of in-depth development before the actual writing process. These people are usually more successful when they follow a plotter method. Now, plotters do have the advantage of really fully knowing their world before they start out, but sometimes all that back work makes you a little bit exhausted, so that when you actually go to write, that it might be a little bit harder to just organically build your story. However, these people do have a really good groundwork, so if you struggle more with the groundwork side of things, maybe you want to look at becoming a plotter. The last type of writer that I want to talk about very briefly is the plantser or planter. I'm not sure which one is more popular, so let me know in the comments which one you're more familiar with. Anyways, these are the writers that are kind of a mix between the plotter and between the pantser. They will usually do a little bit of groundwork before their project, but they write their manuscript fairly organically and they plot while they write their manuscript. So again, it's a little bit of pantser, it's a little bit of plotter, it's a whole lot of plantser. But just to go along with this, I'm going to talk briefly about some pros and cons so that if you are just starting your writer journey, or maybe if the current style that you are writing in isn't really working, maybe this video will help you out. So to begin with, I'm going to go back and talk about pantsers. These are the writers that write by the seat of their pants. Now, pros of this is that you can go ahead and dive into your manuscript. It's very organic writing. You usually can go ahead and get into the thick of things without worrying too much about the build-up to the actual writing. Now, on the con of this, usually it is very hard to build a cohesive and an in-depth story when you are writing organically. The plot can kind of go all over the place, or maybe your characters just take too long to reach their goals, or maybe they just don't even reach their goals at all. I find that a lot of pantsers usually struggle with plot holes, and they really struggle with character and plot development, so that is something to consider if you write as a pantser and you struggle with these things. Maybe don't fully become a plotter, but maybe do a little bit of plotting, and this can kind of help offset these issues. As far as pros for plotters go, these writers usually know their story, their world, their characters incredibly well. So before they even start writing, they know everything about the back of this world. And this is really helpful if you are writing really in-depth or longer works. You already have that groundwork laid. You can reference if you need to reference. It's never wondering, okay, does this go here? Does this go here? And if you are struggling later in the story with, oh, did I give my character brown eyes or blue eyes? You can always reference that because you have already plotted it. Now, the con of being a plotter is that sometimes all the legwork that it takes to make your manuscript start coming to life can actually keep you from writing your manuscript because you do not build organically and you build off an already formed groundwork. Sometimes it can be a little bit harder to actually dive into the thick of things. So if you're a plotter and you find that you're very good at creating these worlds but not creating your story, maybe step back a little bit, see what you really need to plot, if that's like the outline of the story or if that's the characters, and maybe only plot those specific things, but go ahead and dive into your story before finishing your world building or your character building. And lastly, planters kind of share the pros and cons of both worlds. So if you really want to know the pros and cons, you really have to watch the pros and cons of being a pantser or a plotter, and those are about the same that planters face. Now, the specific pros of being a planter are that, again, you get the best of both worlds. If you struggle with world building, you can world build only what you need, and then you can dive into your story. Or if you struggle with diving into your story, but not having the proper outlining, then you can go ahead and outline and then world build, and it's wonderful. I am actually a planter, or a plantser, whichever you choose. Anyways, the cons of being a planter / plantser are that, again, it's in the middle. If you do very well on one side or you do very well on the other side, being a planter / plantser might not work well for you because it is neither of the extremes. So sometimes being lukewarm can actually hurt your writing process, and that is a con in this case. Okay guys, that is it for this video. I hope that this was helpful for you, and maybe you can kind of decide what type of writer you are, or if you didn't know that maybe this video helped you a little bit. I'm sorry that this wasn't as in-depth as my previous videos or as the videos that follow that, but again, I have been very sick and I'm still sick, so I just kind of want to go to bed, but I didn't want to disappoint my viewers. If you did like this video and you feel that it benefited you, please give it a thumbs up, and you can subscribe to me below. If you want to follow me on my other social media, all the links to that are in the description box below as well. Please feel free to leave me a comment for a future video topic or tweet me at Emily A. Suddeth. I will see you guys next Sunday, and hopefully I will see you next Wednesday in a better setting. Have a wonderful day.